So she's trying to build a multi-tiered system of support in response to intervention at the middle school around English language arts. She's going to tell us all about that.
She knows how to use a Mac.
Yeah.
There's a command key to make it present.
Oh.
You may know it.
You can eat anywhere you like.
Wow.
New Max.
This is connected to
Thanks for having me today here, Janine. As Joe was saying, I journeyed through this program a couple years ago, and I love learning in this learning community, so it makes me happy to be here today. I was lucky enough to be in a class with Sean, and then Stacy Bain in the back as well. And then, hi Angie, hey, and hi Tiffany. And so for me, collaboration, I invest in collaborative settings. So I might be facilitating here today, but I'm excited that we're learning here together. I can't say this guy's name, but Janine always talks about, all knowledge is socially constructed. So today here, just by being together, we're building knowledge, and that excites me. So this topic is my passion. I like what Sean was saying about bringing in families and communities. I just am such a believer in that strong student voice when it comes to assessment. So this is just even a cool, I hope you like this title. This comes from Janine Butler. Dr. Butler, just this idea of students as assessment partners, students and families. So what would that look like? You can just kind of be thinking right now, well, what does that look like? So let's journey through this. So one of my essential questions is this. Do you have a purpose-driven and a data-driven assessment plan? Okay, because that's essential in bringing our families and students into being assessment partners. This is would be one of our first steps. So I want you to be thinking about this question throughout. I hope you leave here today desiring to answer this question in your learning community. So I'm an instructional coach, and so any opportunity I can to bring in brain-based instructional strategies, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I want you to read these two quotes about movement. Take your eyes down here, and I want your eyes to go to this keyword memory. Today, I'm going to use movement because I want to put something in your long-term memory. My hope is that if I were to come and visit you again, like 2 or 3 or even 10 years from now, I could ask you what you learned today, and you would recall that information. So let's have a little fun. You're going to have to stand up, and you might just kind of have to get so you can still see the screen. Okay? Okay, so movement is probably on all of our instructional frameworks as an engagement strategy. And I learned this strategy from Dr. Marcia Tate, who works very closely with Eric Jensen. Eric Jensen writes, teaching with poverty in mind, teaching with the brain in mind. I'm seeing nods, so you're part of Eric Jensen's learning community. Tiffany and I got to go to a training with Dr. Marcia Tate, and she, one of the 20 brain-based strategies that she went through with us was using lots of movement, but also storytelling, okay? That's how history, and for years and years and years and years, thousands of years, has been passed down, is through the art of storytelling. So I'm going to tell a story so that you can walk away from here today with these, knowing the 4 types of assessment and their purposes. Okay? So I'm going to model it, and I'm going to ask you to join in with me. Okay, so hi everyone. I want you to meet my Mrs. Assessment Plan. This is Mrs. Assessment Plan. And this is Mr. Purpose Driven. Mrs. Assessment Plan and Mr. Purpose Driven got married. Yes, they were in love and they got married. And they had 4 children. And their 4 children are universal screener, diagnostic, progress monitor, and outcome. Those are their 4 children. Please look at the screen and try to run those through your mind. Know their 4 children. Little study, little power study here. Nod your head if you know the 4 children. Okay, cool. So, their 4 children, they were lucky enough, their 4 children became very wise. And they could answer 4 really important questions. The question that the child universal screener could answer is, who's at risk for poor learning outcomes? Would you try to put that in your, go ahead and read that a couple times. The brain needs repetition, 3 times usually. You got that? Let's move to diagnostic. Diagnostic was so wise and could answer the question, where do we need to focus the intervention or enrichment? Go ahead and put that one in. And then there's progress monitor. Progress monitor could answer this question. How much progress was made? And finally, there's outcome. Outcome could answer the question, have students learned the standards that were taught? Okay. Okay. Now let's tell the story all together. So, would you please now use your hands? Well, you don't have to use your voice, so no voice, but you're going to use your hands. So go ahead with me. Here's Mrs. Assessment Plan, and here's Mr. Purpose Driven. Mrs. Assessment Plan married Mr. Purpose Driven, and they had 4 children. I might not do that. Okay, 4 children. If I was doing this, if you were to try this with your staff, maybe you wouldn't want to do that. Okay, so they had 4 children. Their 4 children were so wise. They could answer these 4 important questions about assessment. 1, and I'm going to use my fingers. This is continuation of TPR. 1, universal screener could answer, who's at risk for poor learning outcomes? 2, the diagnostic could answer, where do we need to focus this intervention or enrichment? 3, progress monitor could answer, how much progress was made? 4, outcome could answer, have students learned the standards that were taught? Okay, put your hands up in there like this. This is awesome. Give yourself an awesome. Give the person sitting next to you an awesome. Give everyone an awesome. You can sit down. You're awesome. Okay. Your long-term memory. So please, what we'll do is partner number 1's you're closest to the window. Okay? Partner number 1's you're first. So I'm going to use another transition. I'm going to say class teach, and you're going to say okay. After that, class teach. Okay. With high energy, and that's what we're looking for with engagement. We just want that excitement and buzz, and hopefully your brains are like, oh no, you're trying to recall this. And that's so good for your brain to be storing those things in your long-term memory. Later today, we're going to hear from Stacy Bain, back Stacy. Go. We cannot be the kings and queens and have all this knowledge. We have to reverse the power, and it needs to be from the ground up. They need to be the ones who can articulate these things. In fact, they should be able to tell that story. And so here, there's just a quick graphic organizer to say, kind of like from this to this, from this culture to this culture. This is the culture shift we want to make, I believe, as instructional leaders. We want to move away from being slow to identify students who are at risk for learning emergencies. Because we borrowed the MTSS RTI model from the medical field. Our hospitals cannot be slow when someone is coming in with a heart attack, an intensive need. They can't slowly say, oh, we see that you look like you're in some pain and you're probably close to dying. We're not quite sure what to do with you yet, so can you just stay over here in core instruction and just wait about 3 months. We'll figure out what we need to do with you. So we're going to move from that to this. We want students and families to be one of the first ones to identify, I'm at risk for a learning emergency. With the diagnostic assessments, typically we can be slow to discover where an intervention should be focused, but we want to shift that to students and families collaborate as part of the PLC data team that uses data to prescribe best fit interventions. Okay, progress monitor. We might sluggishly discover students who are ready to exit an intervention or move on from learning the standards. Sorry for the typo. But we want students and families, we'll shift to students and families are the first to discover they're ready to exit or may need a more intensive intervention or enrichment. So with our general outcome measures or outcomes, typically we can wait to see how students perform on the state and other general outcome measures, kind of that wait and see. Students graphing using multiple data points as part of all of our instructional framework to make decisions about their own learning. One of the things we always include in our graphs is the exit criteria. What's the goal? Where are we trying to get everyone? So you can see there, students know green is standard, and then they get to monitor their growth over time. This particular student was placed in an intervention. You can see why. This is a 6th grade student. I know that because they're trying to reach, according to NUIA MAP, the 6th grade level. Okay? Well, if you were this child, what would you be saying right now in the room? You might raise your hand and you might go, I hit one of the exit criteria. And I'd say, yes, let's celebrate that. And maybe do some funny clap or some funny celebration together. And then I'd say, hey, let's look at your next exit criteria. And I'm going to go here. So then again, this is a 6th grade student using a target sheet or a graph. This comes from Icicle River Middle School. And this is students in Tier 1 core math, monitoring where they are in relation to the standard again. Here's another example of a target sheet, graph of a Tier 1 reading. So students are monitoring their standards here. You always know that this is their target. Tier 1 writing. And then here we are in kind of getting into intervention tracking. Now all students wouldn't be tracking their fluency, but it's the same concept. Once they're in their intervention, they are tracking their 3 or 4 exit criteria because we want to use multiple data points, and we really want to know they are getting the best. We have to take it seriously that they really are ready to exit. We really want to know they're healthy. So again, the students are monitoring here. That's fluency. This is accuracy. This is part of that fluency measure as well. Student knows where exit criteria is. This is TOSWORF, test of silent word reading fluency. Again, same concept. They know right what exit. They know where exit is. Here's rewards. This is what we use for multisyllabic, decoding multisyllabic words. This is for our students who need word level work. In middle school, lots of our students still come to us not knowing how to decode. You all know that. So, again, same process. So, I just want to tell a couple stories. Right now at Orchard Middle School, I just visited with Tanya Brown, the principal there, and she said, Amber, when are we going to get together in our PLC data team to start looking at some kids if they might not have been placed in the right intervention for first quarter? And I was like, oh yeah, that's coming up, let's plan that. She goes, because I'm walking in the halls and students are coming up to me because they've looked at their own multiple data points. Mrs. Brown, I shouldn't be in this intervention. Let's all clap for that right now. That is, hallelujah. That's the way it should be. They should know that. And we want them advocating for themselves. And next, we have in the Wenatchee School District, we aren't there yet. Our distinguished will be when the families know that too. We haven't had families at home. We're starting to get to the student level where students all have their data folders and they know that. They're working that exit criteria. And at middle school, it is super critical because what we know is success is one of the greatest motivators. I'm going to say that again. Success is one of the greatest motivators. And so with our learners who are not yet at standard, especially in the reading foundational skills or writing foundational skills, they come to us with great mind shame. They are broken and they're